We've got some
Hey, I'm Luis.
And
I'm Luis. And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit. And today, we're bringing them to you so you can take action immediately and start creating real content momentum.
If you'd like to learn more about how to turn your content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com. Oh, yeah. Welcome back, part two here with Hollis Flick. Yes.
Like everything crashed. It just like froze.
Died.
Computer didn't work. We had to turn off everything and turn it back on. We're so sorry for Holly.
This is the fun thing about going
right.
live.
That's right.
This is digital life right now. Everybody's used to it.
That's right.
It is what it is. All right. Besides, we were like, oh my God, is this like a pause, like a suspense pause?
An open loop,
An
right?
open loop. Should we?
I'm so good like that.
What do we do? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That was
All right.
the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is gonna go into the same bucket of stories that the one that happened with Marley Jacks, that we had a whole kind of like equipment freak out as well with Zoom and all that. It's like, oh,
You guys are just too good. That's it. That's why.
We just broke the internet.
We broke
Yeah,
the
exactly.
internet. I mean, what we can do. So, okay, back on track. So,
Let's
do
go.
you remember like the thought process? Where were you? Like,
No, I think we were talking about the idea of like, okay, so businesses, what they do is they will create
I remember. I think it was
a little bit of their sales process,
Yes.
and then they'll start publishing.
Yep.
And then the publishing will get going, and they'll be excited because they'll start to see some stuff, and they'll focus 100% on the publishing, and they'll start blowing stuff up, and then they'll go get a ton more people to help them create stuff, or they'll focus on like, how do we show up in more places because we're seeing a little bit of effect here or whatever.
Yeah.
And they lose track of the sales process over here, and then it ends up I mean, it's like starting ads, and ads work great, but then all of a sudden you start like you blow up your ads, and you double, triple, 10x your ad spend, and it breaks everything back here, right?
Yep.
The frustrating thing with your social is that there's a lot of time that you could spend on it and waste it, right? It's not as easy to figure out where you're giving away your time as it is with an ad that has a negative ROAS, right? So like,
yeah,
we have to be careful with that because depending on our personality, it can be really sexy to ramp up our publishing and not realize that we're wasting time, or that we're put stuff out on 15 platforms and we don't do it right.
Yeah,
like I know somebody who spent $20,000 a month on their organic social, and their back end was broken, right?
Wow.
So like, that's right. And I'm not saying a lot of us can't do that, but you just like, I think it's really smart, just like every other form of advertising do, right?
Yeah,
Yep, 100%.
that reminds me a little bit of the story of Steve Larsen on, as he was building his business and he was getting sales, he kind of like stopped the sales, not completely, but like slow down so he could
The
build his
input,
processes
build the
so
system.
they could match the input of leads and all that. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about here, like, okay, the content is working, and then they just pour everything over there, right? And they kind of like forget a little bit about their processes, that they might be broken, and then they're just gonna not be properly serving their customers that are coming in, and then that's just gonna hurt the business, because either they're not gonna be able to close them, or second, they're gonna leave frustrated, being like, hey, like these guys are not paying attention, not being able to fulfill all that. So I like the balance element that you're bringing to the table, right?
Right. But think about this, and I challenge you on this one in your audience too. What is content? Right? So what is in the bucket of content? So when Clickfunnels comes to me and they're like, hey, we need help with our content, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are they talking about? What, a $300 million a year company who is arguably one of the largest content creators in the world, right? Versus, us when we talk about content, right? So, and that's a whole, and we can do a whole nother thing about like, what is content?
Yeah.
But where I want us to keep in mind is the first type of content we need to pay attention to is anything we've committed to provide to someone, right? So especially for an infopreneur, or somebody who offers like a digital information product, you have a customer, like an online customer service situation happening. For those of us that have Facebook groups, right, that we gather, whether it's affiliate or something else.
Yeah.
Like, have you committed yourself that if you buy from me, or not even buy from me, but you commit to your time, like joining my group or whatever else it is that like the first thing you think about when you come up with your content? Like, I need to make sure that I fulfill there. That's part of that back end stuff, right? People put content out. They're like thinking YouTube, right? Content is YouTube. We're throwing out stuff on social. But if you're not meeting the needs, and I've seen this so many times where there are 3 different types of content. And again, we can go back to this, but like we have customer service facing content.
Yeah.
We have brand communication content, right? And then we have conversion content. Those are the 3 different buckets everything falls into, right? Like ads, the content we put out for ads, that falls into conversion. Like we're looking for direct response. We're looking for some sort of conversion there, right? Communication stuff is like the stuff that you just put out so people know who you are, what you're about, your values, you're doing your PR stuff, you're connecting with people. And then there's the customer service / delivery content, right? This is like people paid you, right? So in the order of importance, and I've seen this messed up so many times, especially in the direct response world, right? Is like, they're all about conversion first, right? Like do your conversion stuff, like go out there. And that's like Gary Vee talks about that. Like, don't go out and like, it's 80-20. Don't shove your face in everybody's face and ask for money all the time, right? That's just common sense. So I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to say customer service has to come first. As entrepreneurs, we can sleep when we know that we're living in integrity and we're not selling something we're not fulfilling on. Right? So that means that if I tell people I'm going to do a once a week show, you're committing to content. You're going to do that first. That's customers. You're actually serving your customers right now, right? Every week. You have to find that slot and you do it. If that means that I have a Q&A inside a group that people paid me for or didn't pay me for, I'm going to show up for that. That's like in my content quota for myself as an entrepreneur. I have to make sure I'm meeting those needs, as well as creating and updating content that I've sold. You have a course or something, right? Like, are you updating that? Is that quality content? Then we back out and we say, okay, now we're going to talk about brand communications.
Okay.
So where are we next? We're out, like, where do we need to be and what do we need to be saying? We're going to develop that. And we're going to make sure that we're at the base level, showing up where we need to show up to serve people so that they know who we are. And then we're going to talk about where do we fit in our calls to action and our conversion content. When we build, and that's more strategy.
Yeah.
It's not plan. There's like strategies, there's plans, and then there's tools like a calendar.
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect.
I love this.
This is a master class right now.
I mean, not only that, you mentioned that you have a degree in philosophy, right?
Right.
I can honestly, I know you're like, what does this have to do with everything? But it's like, I love like the way you like look at these questions and you're like, let me flip it. Like you're literally like attacking these questions for every single angle and like building on them. Honestly, I've never heard it like this, right? Like the 3 types of content and how you flip it. Like it should be customer service, brand communication, then the conversion content. And I just love it, honestly. I love how your like thought process works. I'm a fan. I'm a hardcore fan.
I appreciate it. It's survival for me. If my brain doesn't think through things like this, I can't speak.
And going back to what you were saying about coming up with original thoughts, right?
Exactly.
It's that thing, right? So how does somebody go to find those original thoughts?
They create space and they stop listening. Like I have a post on my Instagram and somebody liked it. It's an old one. Somebody liked it just today and I found it again and I was like, oh my gosh, that was smart. Who said that? But it was like, I'm totally not pounding my chest. I'm just laughing at the fact that I said something that I would want to repeat again. So like, I just talked about how you have to keep your time on your calendar for thinking sacred, right? The interweb is they're creativity killers, right? And we know we get in these slumps as entrepreneurs. Like we got into entrepreneurial life because we're creative people. Like we don't have to say we're creatives. Like I don't like that chasm. That's what it is. Like we have to think original thoughts in order to feel like us and to feel like who we are. But if we're watching social all the time, we're regurgitating what we're seeing, we start to lose that feeling like we have original thoughts. So we just have to we all think original thoughts. We're all created to think. We're all created to think original thoughts. So we just have to give ourselves the space, right?
Yeah. Do you feel like people that started this content journey maybe not at the corporate level, but entrepreneurs that are trying to start that message, do you feel like they stop saying original thoughts because of fear of something external coming at them?
That's a good question. I think there's probably a good subset of people that don't communicate because they've been told something or they've read their own comments, right? Like you got to be really careful and you got to know yourself enough to know whether you can handle to read your own ad comments or your own comments on things. I think honestly, like I have 4 kids and one of the biggest things I want them to graduate my home with is understanding themselves. Like, how do you work? Right? Like, so when I start with a client, I don't care how big they are. One of the very first questions I'll say is, how do you think best?
Yeah.
Right? And there's 3 ways they're going to tell you, right? Voice, video, or text, right?
Yeah.
So great. I want your downloads regularly to be in that form. I don't care what that looks like. If it's in the shower and you're writing notes on one of those shower pads and you literally take pictures of them and show them to me.
Yes.
Not in the shower when you do that, but like do that thing. Send me the thing, right?
No mirrors around, please. Okay.
No mirrors. Ain't nobody got time for that. Like I literally had a client say, "Can I send you my journal?"
Yeah.
Right. This is a person who sits on the floor or sits on a beach and just is prolific with what comes out in that form.
Yeah.
Right. We can work with that. That's great. Are you somebody, Russell Brunson, his whole first podcast, right? The marketing in your car thing is literally sitting in his car, like talking at whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like we need to know ourselves enough to know how we create naturally and then do it in your closet. Like nobody's looking. The problem that most people have is that they're creating content for everyone else in the way that everyone else says that they need to.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you get to a certain level, y'all, like we need to play the game. We have to play the game of putting content out in a certain way. So there may be a point when your team comes to you and they say, we need a YouTube channel. In order to be relevant and competitive, most of you guys aren't there yet. Like you just need to create and get it out of you. My biggest nightmare, especially working with a big client, is when they come to me and I say, okay, great. Where's your content library? And they're like, huh? And it's not just that they haven't been creating. It's that they haven't been thinking.
Yeah.
Like they'll show me their library and it'll be like a bunch of quote cards that somebody came up with that they copied from things. Like, hang on, like where is the stuff that's been coming? And they'll say, well, I don't have a digital library. And I'll say, great. Where's your journal?
Yeah.
Like shoot me the pages of your journal that aren't inappropriate. Like let me see the things that you think.
Yeah.
So I can understand you, so that people can understand you. Right. So as entrepreneurs, we have to create space to think in the way that we think, and then we have to do it regularly, whatever that looks like. No judging, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love this message because of so many factors. One of those being that we live in that hustle culture, right? That is go, 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 go. And people do not slow down to even have those thoughts that you're saying that it's like, who am I, right? And we heard it from Phil Jones, and he was like, the best way to serve others is like, ask yourself, who am I for, right? Like, who do I want to help? And asking those questions, you're going to learn who you are. And I mean, I love that because I feel like in the last few months, I've been getting a little bit more into the slowing down, stop going all the time, the hustle, the staying till 9 p.m. at the office. It's like, no, like we need to find who we are. And I think part of the podcast has helped us a lot, actually.
Big
like
time.
Bringing our message into this platform and sharing with people as awesome as Holly has helped us discover, I think, who we are. So I honestly, this is my take for those that are listening. I think that this is for me, the one thing that I would take out of this podcast, guys, is this part. So just go back and replay it again.
Yeah, that's it. So Holly, we want to kind of like say, I think we need like part 2 and part 3 of this. Like we could just like continue 100%. So, but for today, let's reel it down, Luisa. Okay.
Bring it in.
maybe like what's like one that action point, right? Like, and I think like we just like there's so many of them, but like one thing, one very simple thing I could go along the way of like original thoughts. You know, we touched on that point, but what is that one thing that you can recommend people to take action today, that they could see a progress, that they could get that next win, so then they can keep bringing more wins?
Start publishing, because it all starts there. And honestly, I don't care if you never put it on the web. Yeah. Create something digitally and regularly.
Yeah.
Like, I have a YouTube channel nobody knows about. Nobody's ever going to see this stuff, you guys. It's been there for years. Nobody sees it.
Yeah.
Right? I have a secret Facebook group. It's called I'm Not Telling You. It's a secret Facebook group that I have a best friend in there because I can get her to go in and like comment on my outfits sometimes when I'm doing the things, but that's where I go to like test all the things. That's been there for years. I use it less now, but
I love it.
It will come.
I like that.
When you start publishing, the rest will come, but nothing will come if you don't start. And that's the biggest thing. And then just be you. Think original things and be you.
That's awesome.
Where will you be if you did not start publishing, Holly? I'm interested to see this.
What's that?
Where will you be if you did not start publishing? You personally.
Talking to my private YouTube channel that nobody ever sees. Like, if I didn't start publishing, I'd be, oh man. I'm in tiny, tiny town, Washington. Like, there's nobody here, y'all. And I'm talking to you, and like, I have an audience of however many working, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say I'd be nowhere, because I'd be me and I'd be doing some pretty cool things too. But this just gives me such an awesome opportunity to bless people and be, I don't know where I.
Just so you guys know, like her, yeah. As soon as we asked that question, like her mind was like, I literally have no idea, because like it's literally her identity, just like it's becoming ours, which is so amazing. And look at all the wonderful things that she's creating, that her team is creating for so many people. So if you are in this journey of entrepreneurship, content creation, get started, right? Just like Holly said, just like start creating. It doesn't matter. There's going to be an audience out there for you. You have value to offer to the world and to your audience. We were in that position where we had no idea, and we were like so freaked out to go live, even though we play sports in front of people all our lives. And the second we started doing it, this just exploded.
Yeah. It's therapeutic. You're gonna get to know yourself too along the way, and it's a win-win, because you're gonna be providing value for others, and you're gonna literally be providing value for yourself, getting to know yourself.
Love it. Well, Holly, thank you so much. How can we find you? Where can people connect with you?
You know what? My fave place is Instagram. So find me at I'm actually at Hello Holly Flick on all the things. So every platform, that's just where I am. But Instagram's kind of my fave. That's where I hide out. That's where I add all my little stories. And
yeah, heads up, guys. She might think that you're a bot. So just make sure that you do an engaging conversation.
I was not irritated. That was
so funny.
I love you guys and your messages. It's awesome. I'm sorry.
No,
good. No harsh feelings. We were laughing about it.
It's such a cool story.
Yeah, it is.
And it happens, guys. So, well, with that being said, guys, thank you so much. Go ahead and subscribe. Holly, do not leave, because we have 2 minutes with you. I know babysitting is coming, but go ahead and subscribe to the Content is Profit podcast and follow us on social media at BizBrosCo.
That's right, guys. And if you found this episode impactful, which I am sure you did, please don't forget to share with everybody else. See ya.
All right, Holly, thank you so much.
That was so much fun.
Thank you.
So much.
Did you guys write down the other things we could talk about?
Yeah, definitely. There's the iPad full of notes, and I'm sure things are gonna come up for sure as we evolve on this relationship.
I'm so sad.
We're so thankful.
I'm so sad that the stream cut off halfway through, but hey.
Again, you guys, this is for us as much as it's for everybody else.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I was talking with Gabe Schillinger before I did an interview with him, and we were talking, I think we talked for 45 minutes before we're like, shoot, we got to do the thing, live.
Yeah. Hey, Holly, by the way, can we take the picture? Because we're still on live, so we could go back to Skype real quick. So let's do the selfie. You ready? Okay, hold on.
I'm going to do the Holly. This is the Holly pose.
All right. So we are looking at a different camera, just in case you're like, they're not looking at me. Okay.
There you go.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. That was so perfect. Facebook, thank you so much. We'll see you on Monday. Peace.